In this video, we're going to discuss deeds, ownership history, and attaching documents. In this example, let's go to the space in the upper left corner of the map. So I double click on it to go to that space. And then we navigate to the deeds section. In here we're going to add a new deed. You must first enter a unique deed number. CemTrax will not assign deed numbers for you. You must list the deed numbering that your cemetery uses. In this example, I'm going to use a deed from 2010, so I will name it accordingly, 2010-001. Now again, your cemetery may use completely different deed numbering, and that's okay, as long as each one is unique. After I enter the deed number, I'll choose the deed type. This was a post-need deed. And the purchase date we'll say was July 8th of 2010. And the cost was $250. As with other views in CemTrax, you have an other amount and an other fees, which you can also customize the labeling of those two fields. And you see off to the right, there are also 5 custom fields. These fields do not have to be visible, but you can set this in settings so that you can see them, and you can also relabel them as you need to. Once we save this deed, we can see now that this space is listed as an associated space with this deed. I could also assign several other spaces that would be associated with the deed. This is very similar to how you do this for markers when they are associated with more than one space as well. If I'd like to attach a deed, I click on Edit, and then the Attach button, and then I navigate to the place on my computer where that document is saved. And here's a deed, 2010-001. Now when you attach a document, CemTrax will take an educated guess as to what type that is. Here it knows it's of type deed, but you could select several other types if you want, or make up your own types if you have other types that you'd like to categorize. For description, it takes the name of the document as your description, but if you wanted to, you could customize that. So for example, let me take off the .pdf, and then I'll save it. And now this document is attached to this deed. So I saved my edits to the deed. Then when I navigate to the Attached Documents area, we can see for this space, there's a deed attached. It tells us the location on the computer where we have it saved. And I can either double click on that file path or click on the button to the left to open that document. We'll now move on to owner history. So first, we will navigate to the map. And I will pick a space that I'm going to buy. I'll choose this one in the corner of block 2. And first I will buy that space, so I edit it and mark it as sold. The sold amount will be $250. And the sold date will be May 5th of 2007. Then I will save that, and I'll list myself as the owner. Let's fast forward in time a little bit, and now this space needs to get sold back to the cemetery. Perhaps I've decided that I don't need to own a space in the cemetery as I will be buried somewhere else. So I click on Edit. I change the status from sold back to available. And CemTrax will ask me if I'd like to continue without transferring this information to ownership history, or I can transfer this information to ownership history, which is what I'd like to do. So the original sold date is already populated, May 5th of 2007, sold for $250. I'd like to sell it back on December 4th, of 2010, and the sellback amount will be the same amount in this case. And then I may put notes in here. No longer being buried in this cemetery. And click OK. And now that space is marked again as available, but in the ownership history, if I click Save, we can see that I'm listed as a past owner of this space. So if someone else comes to the cemetery and asks to buy that space, they may do so, but you can also look back and see who has owned this space in the past. In our next video, we will look at work orders and advanced searches.